The Lonely Boy and the Falling Star. The night was silent on the edge of the colony world. The air was cool and the stars above were brighter than usual. A boy named Aaron sat outside his small farmhouse staring at the sky. He was only 15, but his life already carried the heavy weight of loneliness. Aaron had no parents. They had died years ago in an accident. Since then, he lived alone, surviving on small crops, old tools, and whatever food he could trade from travelers who passed through the colony. Most people ignored him. To them, he was just the orphan boy who lived at the far end of the settlement. But Aaron did not mind. He had grown used to the silence. His only friends were the stars. Every night he would sit on the fence, look up, and imagine stories. Ships flying between worlds, strange creatures walking under alien suns, and adventures far beyond his reach. That night, something unusual happened. As he looked at the sky, a bright light appeared. At first, he thought it was a shooting star, but it grew larger, brighter, and closer. The light burned across the sky like fire, leaving a trail behind it. The ground shook slightly as the glowing object broke through the clouds. Aaron's eyes widened. "That's not a star," he whispered. The object roared as it fell, heading straight toward the forest beyond the hills. With a loud explosion, it crashed into the trees and a bright orange flame lit the night. Aaron felt the shockwave in his chest. His heart pounded. His first thought was to run back inside and hide. But another feeling burned stronger inside him, curiosity. He had never seen anything fall from the sky before, not like this. He wanted to know what it was. Grabbing an old lantern, he began walking toward the forest. The ground was rough and the night was full of strange noises. But his excitement pushed him forward. After almost an hour of walking, he reached the edge of the crash site. Smoke curled into the air. The smell of burned metal filled his nose. Trees had been split apart and the soil was blackened. In the middle of the wreckage lay something strange. It looked like a broken craft, sharp and silver with glowing blue lines across its side. Pieces of it were scattered everywhere. Aaron froze, his lantern shaking in his hand. This was no rock. This was no meteor. It was a ship. His heart raced faster. He had heard stories about alien ships, but never thought he would see one himself. Slowly, he stepped closer. Then he heard it, a sound. A low, painful groan from inside the wreck. Aaron held his breath. Carefully, he moved the broken pieces aside. What he saw next made his body stiff with shock. Lying inside the wreck was a figure. It was not human. The being was tall, even while lying down, with silver-gray skin and long arms. Its face was wrinkled, marked by age, and its eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. Strange clothes covered its body, torn and burned by the crash. The alien opened its mouth, and in a weak, trembling voice it spoke. "Help, please." Aaron's hand shook. He could not believe it. He was looking at a living alien, injured and helpless. His first thought was to run. What if it was dangerous? What if more were coming? But then he looked closer. The alien was old, its breath shallow. It was not a monster, it was dying. Aaron knelt beside it. I don't know how to help," he whispered. The alien's glowing eyes focused on him. Its lips moved again. "Water, safe place." Aaron hesitated. His mind screamed with fear, but his heart told him otherwise. He had been alone for so long, and here in front of him was someone who needed him. He swallowed hard and nodded. "I'll help you." With all his strength, Aaron pulled the alien out of the wreck. The being was heavy, but Aaron was determined. Step by step, he carried the alien through the forest back toward his farmhouse. The night felt darker now, as if something unseen was watching him. When he finally reached home, Aaron laid the alien on an old bed. He brought water and carefully helped it drink. The alien sighed, eyes closing, but not before whispering one last word. "They will come." Aaron froze. Who would come? The alien drifted into unconsciousness, leaving Aaron with 1,000 questions and a racing heart. He looked out the window at the dark forest. Somewhere out there, flames still burned from the crash. He did not know it yet, but his life had just changed forever. Suspense hook for next part. Aaron doesn't know the alien is being hunted. And now, by saving him, the boy has placed himself in danger too. A secret rescue. The farmhouse was quiet, but Aaron could not sleep that night. He sat on a chair beside the bed, watching the strange alien breathe slowly. The old being's chest rose and fell with effort, each breath sounding weak and painful. Aaron's lantern flickered in the dark room. His heart was still racing. He had brought an alien into his house. If anyone from the colony found out, they would call the patrol, maybe even the military. And if the alien's words were true, they will come. Then danger was already on its way. But leaving the alien to die did not feel right. Aaron had always been alone, but loneliness had made him strong in his own way. He knew how to take care of himself, how to survive with little food and little help. Now, for the first time in his life, someone else needed him. The alien stirred, letting out a soft groan. Aaron quickly brought water again, holding it carefully to the strange mouth. The alien drank slowly, eyes opening halfway. "You saved me." The voice was weak but clear. The words were in broken human language, but enough to understand. Aaron nodded nervously. "You would have died out there." The alien tried to smile, though its face looked strange when it did. "Brave, human child." Aaron shifted uncomfortably. "I didn't do it because I'm brave," he said quietly. "I did it because I know what it feels like to be alone." The alien studied him for a long moment, its glowing eyes soft. Then it closed them again, falling into uneasy sleep. Morning came. The sky outside turned pale blue, and smoke from the crash site still rose in the distance. Aaron worked quickly, making sure no one in the colony would notice anything strange. He gathered extra firewood, filled buckets of water, and prepared simple food. Then he returned to the room. The alien was awake again. Aaron brought him a bowl of warm soup, but the alien could barely lift his hands. So Aaron helped feed him spoon by spoon. After a while, the alien whispered, "Name is Kyle." Aaron repeated it. "Kyle." The name sounded heavy, like it carried secrets. Kyle nodded faintly. "You must not tell others." "Not safe," Aaron frowned. "Who's coming?" "You said they will come, but who are they?" Kale's eyes darkened. "Hunters, killers. They seek me. If they find me here, they will not spare you." A shiver ran down Aaron's spine. He looked at the alien's weak body and then at the door of his house. For the first time, his safe little farmhouse felt like a trap. Still, he clenched his fists. "Then I'll keep you hidden. No one comes here much. They won't find you." Kyle's expression softened. "Yes, risk much." Why? Aaron swallowed hard. "Because I couldn't just walk away. You needed me." Kyle closed his eyes again as if the boy's words brought him peace. The day passed slowly. Aaron went outside, tending to his small crops and pretending everything was normal. But his mind was restless. Each time he glanced at the forest, he thought of patrol ships, strange hunters, and the fire still burning at the crash site. By nightfall, he returned inside and sat by Kyle again. The alien's breathing was easier now, though he was still weak. To pass the time, Aaron asked questions. "Where did you come from? Was that really your ship?" Kale nodded slowly. Star systems. Not for you to know now. Dangerous knowledge. Then why were you here?" Aaron pressed. Kale's eyes flickered with pain, not from his wounds, but from memory. "Running, hiding, betrayed. There are those who want my end." Aaron leaned forward. "But why? What did you do?" Kale gave a thin smile. "Not what I did. What I have." Aaron frowned, confused. But before he could ask more, Kale raised a trembling finger to his lips. "Quiet. Someone is near." Aaron froze. His ears strained. At first he heard nothing. Then faint footsteps outside, the crunch of boots on soil. His blood turned cold. Slowly he blew out the lantern, plunging the room into darkness. He moved to the window and peeked through a crack in the old wooden wall. Two shadows moved near the edge of the farmhouse. Tall figures wearing armor that glinted faintly in the moonlight. Their eyes glowed red through their helmets. Hunters. Aaron's stomach twisted with fear. They were already searching. The shadows stopped, scanning the ground, sniffing the air like predators. One of them muttered in a strange language, deep and harsh. Aaron backed away from the window, his heart hammering. Kale's warning echoed in his mind. "If they find me here, they will not spare you." The boy looked at the alien lying weakly on the bed. For the first time in his life, Aaron wished desperately for someone, anyone, to protect him. But there was no one. Only him, and if he wanted to survive, he had to protect Kale, too. Suspense hook for next part. The hunters are already searching nearby. Aaron must make a choice. Hide Kale better or risk discovery that could cost them both their lives. Stories by the fire. The night was cold. Aaron sat close to the fireplace, feeding it with small logs. The flames gave the room a warm glow, pushing away the fear from earlier. He kept glancing at the window, half expecting to see those armored hunters staring back at him. But outside it was silent again. Whoever they were, they had not come inside. Not yet. Kale the alien rested on the bed, his breathing steadier now. His wounds were still bad, but he had more strength in his voice than before. When the silence grew too heavy, he spoke. "You are brave, young one." Aaron shook his head. "No, I was just scared. I thought they would find us." "Bravery is not the absence of fear," Kale said softly. "It is choosing to act even when afraid." Aaron looked at him carefully. He had never heard words like that before. For a moment, the boy forgot Kale was an alien. He sounded wise, almost like a grandfather. To ease his fear, Aaron asked, "Where do you come from?" Kale's glowing eyes reflected the fire. "From stars far away. Worlds with oceans of crystal, cities that float in the sky, and towers that touch the clouds." His voice carried a rhythm, like a storyteller. "I have seen creatures with wings of light, and forests where the trees themselves sing." Aaron listened, wide-eyed. He had never been beyond his small colony. His world was dust, crops, and silence. The thought of flying towers and singing forests made his heart ache with longing. "You've really seen all that?" he whispered. Kale smiled faintly. "I have lived many years, boy. I have walked across more worlds than you can imagine." The fire cracked, filling the silence. Aaron's imagination began to race. He pictured himself standing in those shining cities, walking under alien skies. For the first time in a long while, he felt hope. But then he frowned. "If you've seen so much, why were you running? Why were they hunting you?" Kale's smile faded. His eyes darkened with memory. "Because I carry something they want. Not gold, not jewels, but knowledge, power, enough to shake empires." Aaron shivered. He did not fully understand, but he knew it was dangerous. Kale's voice grew lower. "The hunters will not stop. They are like wolves. They can smell weakness, and they can smell me." He glanced at Aaron. "And now, they may smell you too." Aaron swallowed hard. His farmhouse, once his safe place, felt smaller and smaller. The idea of hunters searching the colony, closing in, made his stomach twist. But Kale's calmness surprised him. Despite being wounded, the alien did not look defeated. Instead, he looked like someone who had faced storms before and lived through them. Aaron poked the fire nervously. "Maybe you should leave." "I mean, what if they come back?" "If they catch you here, they'll kill us both." Kale shook his head slowly. "I cannot leave yet. My body is too weak. And the device I need to call for help. It was broken in the crash. I must fix it or I will never escape." Aaron looked at him, then at his burned, torn clothes. "You mean that ship? The one in the forest?" Kale nodded. "Pieces of it, yes. I can build what I need. But I cannot walk." "Not yet." Aaron sat back staring at the fire. The responsibility was heavy on his shoulders. He was just a boy. And yet he was now protector, nurse, and maybe even savior to this alien. For a long time, the only sound was the crackle of fire. Then Kale spoke again, softer this time. "Do you know why I trust you?" Aaron shook his head. "Because you remind me of my own youth," Kale said. His eyes glowed faintly as he gazed at the flames. "Long ago I was also small, weak, and overlooked. But sometimes the smallest one carries the greatest strength." Aaron's chest tightened. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. To the colony, he was just the orphan boy. But Kale saw something more. For the first time in his life, Aaron felt he mattered. Suddenly, a sharp sound broke the calm. Clang. Aaron jumped to his feet. It came from outside, the sound of metal against metal. He rushed to the window. His breath caught in his throat. In the distance, across the fields, faint lights were moving. Not lanterns. Not fire. Ships. At least 3 small vessels hovered low, their searchlights sweeping across the ground like giant eyes. They were searching, slow and patient. "They're back," Aaron whispered, his voice shaking. Kale pushed himself up weakly. His glowing eyes hardened. "They are not only back, they are closing in." Aaron's body filled with fear, but also with something else, a strange growing fire inside him. If the hunters came to his house, what would he do? Suspense hook for next part. The hunters are now combing the colony. The searchlights move closer. Aaron must find a way to keep Kale hidden, or both of them will be caught. The hunters arrive. The searchlights swept across the dark fields like hungry eyes. Aaron pressed his face against the wooden wall, peeking through a small crack. 3 black ships hovered just above the ground. Their engines hummed like low thunder, and each carried armored figures who moved with sharp precision. The hunters. Aaron's stomach twisted. They were moving slowly, scanning every house, every barn, every shadow. The colony was quiet, but the silence felt heavy, as if everyone was holding their breath. "They are looking for me," Kyle said in a hushed voice. He was sitting up now, though still weak. "They will not stop until they find me." Aaron turned to him. "What do we do?" "If they come here, then we are both lost," Kyle finished, his glowing eyes steady. Aaron's hands shook, but he forced himself to think. He could not let them find Kyle. The alien had trusted him, and now his safety rested on the shoulders of one lonely boy. The first ship drifted closer to the farmhouse. Aaron's heart pounded so loud he was sure they would hear it. He grabbed Kyle's arm. "You have to hide," he whispered. Kyle gave a weak smile. Where can a giant alien hide in a human's small house? Aaron looked around desperately. The cellar. It was dark, damp, and smelled of earth, but it was the only place no one ever checked. He hurried to open the wooden door in the corner of the room. "Down here," he said quickly. Kyle looked doubtful but tried to stand. His legs trembled and he nearly fell, but Aaron caught him. Bit by bit, with Aaron's help, Kyle lowered himself down into the shadows of the cellar. Aaron covered him with old blankets and sacks, then shut the door just as bright lights flashed against the farmhouse walls. They were here. A heavy knock shook the door. Bang! 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 Aaron jumped. He froze for a second, then forced himself to breathe. If he acted suspicious, they would break down the door. He had to stay calm. Another knock, louder. "Open!" a voice demanded. It was harsh, metallic, like a machine speaking through a broken speaker. Aaron's heart raced, but he walked to the door and pulled it open. 2 hunters stood there, tall and terrifying. Their armor was black with sharp edges, glowing red lines running across their helmets. They looked down at him like wolves eyeing a rabbit. "What is your name?" one of them growled. "Aaron," he said quickly, his voice small. The hunter leaned closer. "Have you seen anything fall from the sky? Any strange fire?" Aaron swallowed. I saw light. Out by the forest." The hunter studied him for a long moment. Then he stepped inside without asking. His heavy boots shook the wooden floor. The other followed, scanning the room with a red beam from his helmet. Aaron's palms grew sweaty. He tried to stay still as the hunters searched. One of them kicked open a cupboard. Another scanned the bed where Kale had been lying just moments ago. "Empty," one muttered. The first hunter turned back to Aaron. "You live here alone?" "Yes," Aaron said. His throat was dry. The hunter stared at him for what felt like forever. Then slowly he nodded. "If you see anything, you will report. Or your punishment will be severe." His voice was like cold iron. Aaron nodded quickly. "Yes, I will." The hunters moved toward the door, but just as they stepped outside, one of them paused. He turned his helmeted head, staring at the floor where faint drops of glowing blue liquid marked the wooden boards. Kyle's blood. The hunter tilted his head, scanning the spot. Aaron's chest went tight. He was sure it was over. Think fast." "I cut myself earlier," Aaron blurted out, pointing at his hand. He quickly scratched his palm against a wooden splinter until a small line of red appeared. "See, that's mine." The hunter looked at him silently, then at the glowing marks. Finally, he stepped back. "Careful, human. The galaxy is not kind to liars." With that, the 2 hunters walked out. The ship's engines hummed louder as they drifted further into the colony, still searching. Aaron slammed the door shut and leaned against it, gasping. His legs trembled so badly he thought they might give out. Slowly, he opened the cellar door. Kale's glowing eyes looked up at him from the darkness. "You are clever," the alien said softly. Aaron sat down beside the cellar steps, his hands still shaking. "No," he whispered. "I'm just lucky." Kale shook his head. "Not luck, courage." Aaron didn't answer. He knew the hunters would be back. They had not stopped searching. They would not stop until Kale was found. And if Aaron wanted to protect him, he would have to do more than hide. Suspense hook for next part. The hunters are still searching the colony. Kale needs his beacon rebuilt to call for help. Aaron must risk everything to recover pieces from the wreck before the hunters find it first. The escape plan the hunters had left, but their ship still hovered in the skies above the colony. Their red searchlights cut through the night like blades, sweeping over the fields, barns, and homes. Aaron sat by the cellar door, his back against the wall, his breath slow and shaky. Cale climbed out of the cellar with difficulty. His steps were weak, but his glowing eyes carried determination. "We cannot stay here," he said firmly. "Soon they will come back, and next time they will not leave without searching deeper." Aaron nodded. His hands were still trembling from the close call. "But where can we go?" "They're everywhere." Kyle reached into the folds of his torn clothes and pulled out a small broken device. Its surface flickered with faint blue light. "This is my beacon. If repaired, it can call my people. A ship will come for me. For us." Aaron's eyes widened. "You mean we can escape?" Cale nodded. "Yes, but first the beacon must be fixed. I need parts from my ship." Aaron thought of the wreck in the forest. The fire, the broken metal, the glowing blue lines, and the hunters searching nearby. His stomach twisted with fear. "That place, they'll be watching it," he said quietly. Cale's voice was calm but urgent. "They will, which is why you must be quick, careful, and clever. Without the beacon, we have no chance." Aaron stared at the device in Cale's hands. He was just a boy, not a hero. But he remembered the hunters standing in his house, their red eyes scanning him like prey. He remembered how close they had come to finding Cale. If he did nothing, the alien would die. And maybe he would too. Finally, he nodded. "I'll go." The forest was silent except for the chirping of night creatures. Aaron moved through the shadows, keeping low. His lantern was hidden inside his coat, giving only a faint glow to guide his steps. Every crack of a twig made his heart jump. When he reached the crash site, the smell of burned metal still lingered. The wreck lay scattered like broken bones. Some pieces still glowed faintly, humming with strange energy. Aaron crouched and searched carefully. He remembered the small device Kyle had shown him. He needed parts with the same glowing lines, maybe wires, maybe something intact. He found a shard of curved metal, its surface humming softly, then a broken panel with strange buttons, then a bundle of wires still sparking weakly. He stuffed them into a bag, working as fast as he could, but then he froze. Voices. Deep, metallic voices. Aaron ducked behind a broken wing of the ship. He peeked through a crack. 2 hunters were there, scanning the wreck with red beams of light. One of them bent down, picking up a piece of metal, then tossing it aside. Aaron's pulse hammered in his ears. He crouched lower, gripping his bag tightly. He knew if they found him here, it was over. One of the hunters suddenly stopped, turning its helmet toward the shadows. Aaron's chest locked. The red light scanned closer and closer. His mind screamed at him to run, but his body stayed still like stone. At the last second, the hunter turned away, following its partner deeper into the wreckage. Aaron let out the breath he had been holding, then crawled backward silently. Step by step, he retreated into the trees. When he was far enough, he stood and ran as fast as he could back toward the farmhouse. Cale was waiting, sitting by the fire. When Aaron stumbled in, panting, Cale's eyes lit up. "You have them?" Aaron dropped the bag on the table. "Yes, almost got caught." Cale opened the bag and pulled out the glowing shards. His wrinkled hands moved carefully, connecting wires, fitting pieces together. Aaron watched, amazed, as the broken beacon slowly began to hum. Its blue glow grew brighter with each connection. "It will take more time," Kyle said, his voice calm again. "But it will work." Aaron sat back, wiping sweat from his forehead. For a moment, he felt relief. Maybe, just maybe, they had a chance, but then, boom. The farmhouse shook as if struck by thunder. The sound was deafening. Aaron leapt to his feet. Outside the window, a red light cut through the darkness. One of the hunter's ships had landed right outside. Cale gripped the half-repaired beacon, his eyes sharp. "They know." Aaron's chest tightened. He glanced at the cellar, at the broken door, at the alien who had become his strange friend. There was nowhere left to hide. Suspense hook for next part. The hunters have found the farmhouse. Aaron and Cale must fight or flee, because the enemy is now at their door. The final stand. The ground shook as the hunter's ship landed outside the farmhouse. Its engines roared and dust filled the air. Red lights flashed through the windows, painting the room in a bloody glow. Aaron's heart pounded so hard it hurt. He grabbed Cale's arm. "We have to run." Cale shook his head. His voice was calm but firm. "Too late. They are here." The door burst open with a crash. Two hunters stormed inside, their black armor gleaming, red eyes burning in the dark. One raised a weapon that hummed with deadly energy. Aaron froze. His legs felt like stone. Kyle stepped forward, leaning heavily on the table, the half-repaired beacon still glowing faintly in his hand. His voice was weak but steady. "Leave and I may yet spare you." The hunters laughed, a harsh metallic sound. One pointed at him. "Old one, your life ends here." The other turned his red gaze on Aaron. "And the human boy dies with you." Aaron's fear snapped into fire. He grabbed the closest thing he could find, a wooden tool handle, and swung it at the hunter's leg. The strike barely made the armored figure stumble, but it was enough to make the alien snarl and turn. "Run!" Cale shouted, but Aaron didn't. He gritted his teeth and swung again. The hunter raised his arm to block, and in that instant, Cale pulled something small from his clothes. A hidden device. It glowed bright, and a wave of energy shot out, throwing both hunters backward. They crashed into the wall with a metallic clang. Aaron gasped, his ears ringing. "What was that?" Cale stood straighter now, though his body trembled. "Old tricks. I did not want to use them, but they leave me no choice." The hunters roared in anger, rising to their feet. One raised his weapon and fired. A blast of red energy ripped across the room, shattering the wooden table. Sparks and flames spread. Aaron dove to the ground, covering his head. Cale raised a hand, and a shimmering shield flickered to life, blocking the second blast. The shield cracked under the force, but it held. "You cannot stop us," one hunter shouted. Cale's eyes glowed brighter. "I have stopped greater than you." But Aaron knew Cale was weak. Each step, each shield, each blast of energy cost him dearly. His hands shook, his face was pale. He couldn't fight like this for long. Aaron's gaze darted to the beacon on the floor. It was glowing, humming louder now. Almost ready. If they could hold on just a little longer. The hunters charged again. Aaron grabbed the broken tool and jumped in their way, swinging wildly. One hunter knocked him down easily, but Aaron's attack distracted them for precious seconds. Cale lifted the small hidden device once more, firing a wave of blue light that struck the hunters. One fell, armor sparking. The other staggered but stayed standing. Cale collapsed to one knee, breathing hard. His strength was nearly gone. Aaron crawled to the beacon. The hum grew louder, the light brighter. He grabbed it, holding it high. "Kyle, it's working." The hunter turned toward him, raising his weapon. Aaron's eyes went wide. There was no time to move. Zap! The weapon fired, only for Cale to throw himself in front of Aaron. The blast struck his chest, sending him crashing into the wall. "No!" Aaron screamed. The hunter marched forward, weapon ready to fire again. Aaron gripped the beacon with both hands, not knowing what else to do. He pressed the glowing panel. The beacon lit up fully, releasing a burst of blue energy into the sky. It shot through the roof, a beam of light stretching toward the stars. The hunter stopped, staring upward. For the first time, there was hesitation in his red eyes. Cale groaned, trying to stand. His voice was faint but strong. "You are too late. They are coming." Above the farmhouse, the sky began to shake. A new sound filled the air. A deep, powerful hum, different from the hunter's ships. A massive shadow appeared through the clouds. Another ship. Aaron's eyes widened. Hope surged in his chest. Cale's people. The hunters turned toward the sky, their weapons ready. They knew what was coming, and they didn't like it. Aaron knelt beside Cale, clutching his arm. "Stay with me, please." Kyle managed a faint smile. "You did well, boy." "Very well." Outside, the hunters shouted as the massive ship descended. Bright blue lights lit up the night, swallowing the hunters' red glow. Aaron's farmhouse shook again, but this time, it was not in fear. It was in hope. Suspense hook for next part. Cale's people have arrived. The hunters won't give up without a fight, and Aaron is about to learn who Cale really is, and why saving him will change his life forever. The truth revealed, the farmhouse shook as the giant ship descended from the clouds. Its engines roared like thunder, and blue light washed over the burning field. The hunters backed away, raising their weapons, but for the first time their confidence broke. A deep voice boomed from the sky. "Release him. Stand down." The hunters cursed in their alien tongue. They fired at the ship, but their red blasts vanished against a glowing blue shield that wrapped around the vessel like armor. Then, beams of light struck the ground. Figures appeared, tall and armored in silver. their weapons sharp and glowing. Kale's people had arrived. The hunters turned to fight, but it was useless. In seconds, the silver warriors surrounded them. Their weapons hummed, and with a single strike, they cut down the hunters. Sparks filled the air. The battle was over almost as quickly as it began. Aaron stared, wide-eyed. He had never seen warriors like these. They moved with speed and power that made the hunters look weak. But his attention snapped back to Kale, who lay weakly against the broken wall, blood dark against his clothes. Aaron dropped to his knees beside him. "Kyle, stay with me, please." The boy's voice shook and tears burned his eyes. Kale reached up, his hand trembling, and placed it on Aaron's shoulder. "Do not fear. My people are here." The silver warriors approached. One knelt, scanning Kale with a glowing device. His face showed deep respect. "Elder Kale, we came as soon as your signal reached us." Aaron blinked. "Elder?" The warrior looked at Aaron, eyes filled with surprise. "And this human child?" "He is with you." Kale smiled faintly. "He saved me. Without him, I would be gone." Aaron's heart pounded. He looked at Kale, then at the warrior. You know him?" The warrior let out a soft laugh, almost disbelief. "Know him, boy? You do not understand who you have saved." Aaron frowned, confused. "He's just—" "Kyle, my friend." The warrior stood tall. His voice echoed with pride. "This is Lord Kael'thar, one of the most powerful elders of our empire. A leader, a builder of worlds. Wealth beyond measure flows in his name." Aaron's mouth fell open. He looked at Kale, who only smiled softly. A lord?" Aaron whispered. Kale chuckled weakly. "I did not tell you because I wanted you to see me as I am. Not for my riches, not for my title." His eyes glowed faintly. "And yet you showed kindness. True kindness. That is rarer than any treasure." Aaron didn't know what to say. He was just an orphan boy, alone and forgotten by the world. How could he be part of something so great? Kale's grip on his shoulder grew firmer. "Aaron, listen to me. You risked everything for a stranger. You fought when you could have run. You gave hope when I had none." The boy's throat tightened. I just didn't want you to die." "And that," Kyle said, his voice steady despite his weakness, "is why you are worthy." The warriors helped Kyle to his feet, surrounding him with care. But Kale pointed at Aran. "Bring him. He is under my protection." One of the warriors raised a brow. "But Elder, he is human." Kale's eyes flashed with strength again. "He is more than that. He is my heir." Aaron froze. His heart skipped. "Heir? Me? No. I can't. I'm nobody." Kale shook his head. "Not anymore." The warriors bowed their heads, accepting Kale's words. Aaron felt dizzy. His life had always been small. Fields, loneliness, the farmhouse creaking in the night. Now the stars seemed to open wide above him. A path he never dreamed of was calling. As Kale's people carried him toward the great ship, Kale looked back at Aran. "You looked at me and saw a life worth saving. Now I will look at you and see a life worth raising." Aaron's chest tightened, but he stood tall. The fear in him was gone, replaced by something new. Hope. The massive ship's doors opened, light spilling down like the dawn of a new day. Aaron stepped forward, leaving behind the farmhouse, the fields, and his lonely nights. For the first time, he was not just a boy with no family. He was chosen. The stars above seemed brighter, and Aaron knew his life had changed forever.